Welcome to the NHL Wraparound podcast featuring Neil Smith, President General Manager of the 1994 Stanley Cup champion New York Rangers, and longtime ESPN NHL veteran Vic Morren. Together, they share no-nonsense opinions on news and issues around the National Hockey League. Whether you're a casual or diehard fan, each episode of NHL Wraparound will leave you more informed. Now, here's your hosts, Neil and Vic.
This is the human side of the story, brought to you by the Game 7 Group. And we were talking about Peter DeBoer as part of this show. And DeBoer has an unbelievable record of 8-0 in Game 7s in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And let's face it, Game 7 has a magic attached to it like nothing in sport. In order to prevail, teamwork is essential to achieving success. At the Game 7 Group, transforming individuals into cohesive teams is the core philosophy in their team-building approach. Their belief is every team has potential to achieve extraordinary results. Game 7 Group offers various services to help teams accomplish their goals through specific team-building events, coaching, and speaking engagements. These services are aimed at improving team dynamics, productivity, and overall performance. There is no question that we all want to be able to succeed in the big moment. Check out the Game 7 Group website at game7group.com/NHL Wraparound to learn more. Right now, a special incentive offer awaits our podcast listeners. Take your team to the next step. The Game 7 Group will help get you there. And Neil, we're going to talk about a player that has just retired from the NHL, small player, big game guy.
Sure is, and that's Joe Pavelski, who is a Plover, Wisconsin native, born back in 1984, which means he's now this summer turned 40 years old, and I guess that went into his thinking. But Joe Pavelski, San Jose Sharks drafted him in the 7th round back in 2003. That's the last round of the entry draft. They drafted him out of Waterloo in the USHL, where he got 69 points in 60 games and went on from there to play at University of Wisconsin, had 2 excellent seasons. His second year at University of Wisconsin, 56 points in 43 games. He then went up the next year to the Sharks, went to training camp. The Sharks put him into Worcester, Massachusetts, where he got 26 points in 16 games. And they said, whoa, you're coming up here to the show. And they brought him up, and that started a long, long career of only 2 teams, San Jose Sharks, where he's mostly known for. And then later in his last 5 seasons, he played for the Dallas Stars, played a total of 1,332 games in the NHL, scoring 1,068 points. And for a guy drafted in the 7th round, 205th overall, like an afterthought, what an unbelievable career. It's a Hockey Hall of Fame career, without any doubt. I mean, there isn't a Stanley Cup in there because for the 2 teams he played for, San Jose Sharks and the Dallas Stars. But I don't know how Joe Pavelski could have done much more. He was a leader with each of those teams and played hard night after night. As you said, he wasn't huge. He was about 6 foot. But his center of gravity was so good. He was so hard to knock off the puck. He had a way to keep the opponents away from the puck and be able to protect the puck so well. So just a great, great career coming to an end for a player that I think deserves Hall of Fame recognition.
And boy, this guy was as tough as nails also, because as you just mentioned, he wasn't big, but he would play in the dirty areas, and there were few players in the NHL that were better at deflecting pucks than Joe Pavelski. And oh, by the way, we mentioned Peter DeBoer at the head of this segment about being 8-0 in Game 7s. Pavelski, a record of 8-3, so not too shabby himself. So props to Joe Pavelski on a great career, and perhaps we see him in the Hall of Fame not too far down the road. That'll do it for this show. Thanks to the Game 7 group for sponsoring us today. Thank you to our listeners. Send questions or comments to nhlwraparound@gmail.com. And don't forget our website, nhlwraparound.com. All episodes available on both video and audio platforms. Our final summer cooler coming up when we hit the Pacific Division. On behalf of Neil, I'm Vic, and we will see you then.
Thanks for joining us on the NHL Wraparound podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date on all the NHL action.